Good morning. We are in Siman Kuf Pei Vav. We are in the middle of Sif Beis. We finished the Mechaber. We are up to the Ramah. I'm talking about Gimel Bedikos to machzik herself as a non-ro'ada machas tashmish, someone who does not see dam because of tashmish. Because we'll see in the next siman what happens if so. With al kopanim, so that's a discussion in Chaber Paskins. You need to do it 3 times. The shach is a whole different shita. Al kopanim haga ve'ein tzrichin livdek atzman achar kol tashmish v'tashmish she'oisim b'layla achas. Ela mekanchen atzman kol halayla be'eid. U'lamachar tzrichin bedikah. They do not have to go ahead and check after each time at night. I mentioned the idea that it could be. I saw someone say, well, technically, if they did 3 times and checked 3 times one night, that it could be that would work for chazaka. Al kopanim, here it's saying you don't need to put it. They don't need to be choshesh that. They can just, they can just check once, or check meaning there's 2. One is that they use their cloth or whatever, and then checking means checking by looking at it by light. So they say, okay, they're not going to the mechayev because it's only a chashash to check every single time until whatever. But one night it's enough to check once and then check in the morning. And then if she saw dam tmei, kancha atzma be'ed. If she wiped herself with an aid v'avad, and then she lost it. Lo tishamesh ad shetivdek atzma ho ve'ein la veses. She should not. She has to check herself for the next time she's with her husband because. Since she does not have a veses, so there's a couple reasons why we're choshesh murder machmas tashmish. There's 2 reasons. There's a machlokes between the Yehuda and the Chavos. The Yehuda says it's all because eshchol ve'ein la veses. That's like the main thing. The reason we're choshesh that maybe she has a veses aguf like tfitzos or things or whatever. So this is her veses aguf, maybe machmas tashmish. So we have to check that. So if she does not have a veses, so therefore we are choshesh that maybe this is her veses. Maybe this is it. Maybe that's it. Chavos is so agav the Niddah actually paskins that a woman, let's say a woman. If she taka did see once machmas tashmish, but then she was kovea veses, for 30 for days, whatever, then you don't have to worry about it anymore. We'll see about checking and whatever you do, but you don't have to worry about it anymore because now she found her veses. So you see that's not. And after that, we don't have to be choshesh for such a thing anymore. But is cholik because it's not just a baton veses; it's also some sort of choli. We're also choshesh that maybe she had, she saw once, or maybe she has some sort of, choli, which she's still asura, even if it's fachas tashmish, she's still tmeir, So therefore, he's chol on the heter. Upon him over here, it says if she lost the aid since she does not have a veses, so and she checked, so then we're choshesh, then we're choshesh for. Then we'd be choshesh for that, like any other woman would, she would lose an aid that it's that it's depends on her matzav, it's a chashash or not.
We're not saying that Emma Veses has to check every time.
No. If she checked, and she lost it, then she has to check again.
And she only has to check the first 3 times.
Right. And this Pitzchei Tshuva point just brings the Malam Padro says that there is mashra from here. Therefore, someone who's pregnant or nursing or whatever. So then, since she does not have a Veses Bechlal, so therefore we're not Choshish for this Bechlal. So that's why I mentioned that these three things, Pesach can say these three Bedikahs can't be done when a woman is pregnant or nursing. So, so therefore, if they check once and then woman gets pregnant and she's nursing, it can go on for years until they actually check three times. So, whatever. It's something which can stretch on for a long time. Gimel, Isha she'ena roa pachos mi yudal Yomi. A woman who never sees less than 14 days after her achar tefilasa. Right? She never sees until 14 days after the tefillah of al achar yudal Yomi ein la keva. Then she can see at any point ad yudal Yom dina kedin isha sheisha veses. Until 14 days, she has a din of a woman who has a Veses. This is called the Veses of Trumas HaDeshen. This is Trumas HaDeshen's Chiddush. It makes sense. The Shaila in the Machlokes about what is it Nogea to. Some say it's only Nogea to the Gimel B'dikus, and therefore a woman she can't even do the Gimel B'dikus until if she knows she definitely doesn't see it the 14 days after, so she can't even do Bedikas until that. Which then often you're talking, it's already day, you're talking it's day, I don't know what's it called, talking day 32, and again you're like trying to fit it in before she sees it. It could go on for a long time. The other place the Trumas HaDeshen is used is in Kuf Pei Daled we had before about the Yemei Mevuchim or whatever about the if she sees during a range of days. So Poisky will say Moshe says that it's we're only choshish for such a thing after the Veses of Trumas HaDeshen. I mean, if she's just like all over the place, so fine. But if she generally doesn't see until after day 28, let's say, right? So then so then we don't have to be or day 35 or whatever. You don't have to be choshish for. You don't have to be choshish for, Meim Mavuchim, she starts switching or whatever until after that time. There are those who are cholok on that, but that's one application. There is an interesting discussion I saw about in the Trumas HaDeshen, what about if she doesn't see until day 35, until 2.5 weeks after her Lel Tvila, whatever it is, after Onabenis. Is that mafkia? Does that mean she doesn't have to check Onabenis ever? Let's say she never sees before day 35. So does that mean does she still have to be choshesh for Onabenis? So there are some poskim say that in a chanami it could be she wouldn't have to check her Onabenis anymore. This we mevatel it. I do think mitam chashash. It is a machlokes, and mitam chashash. I still think the place can say that she should do prisha. Whether they should also do prishas or zarua in that case, that already is okay. The Indian, whatever. But al that's already is much more keel and much more makel in many different ways. Daled yesha adam lahaniach as ishto shetivdek be'et shelo. A man can go ahead and let his wife, take care of check everything. Since she's ne'emenes, she has ne'emanus on hers. She is also ne'emanus on his. Meaning she has ne'emanus. The Torah gives suffer like Torah giving ne'emanus on all this whole area over here, and therefore it's she can be in charge and it's okay.
Where do you find that H shalom only in the situations where they have to check? He also has to check.
Right, so that's the thing. Right, so it says you should check.
It will be afterwards.
Yeah, he would be afterwards. Yeah. She should just check afterwards. Correct. Hey, if she saw damach tashmish 3 times, it's sufin asura l'shamish lo'ilam. Then she's asura to that husband. These very similar shachars, and we'll see in a minute what what the dinim are. So she becomes a surah, and they would have to get divorced. Okay. Siman Kuf Pei Aleph, Isha Sharasa Dam Machmas Tashmish. A woman who sees Dam because of Tashmish. Miyad, what defines Machmas Tashmish? Miyad means right after Tashmish. B'ktei Shetoshit Yoda L'Tachas Sakar, and enough time that she can, stick her hand under a pillow, L'Tachas Sakesses, or under the blanket or whatever. The Tito aid, leave like boy, grab an aid to check with tikanech atzma and wipe herself. She doesn't have to do a full Bedikah, just kinuach. That's the zman. That's the zman to say it's mach. We'd say, okay, yeah, that's machmas tashmish. Anything past that, however many seconds that is, I don't know, is considered not connected to tashmish, and it's she's stamsa. Yeah, but it's a coincidence, right? Mishameshes. Shalosh Pa'amim, and then she's allowed, she's allowed to go ahead and she tashmish 3 times. Even before Shalosh Pa'amim, if in all the 3 times, Ritzufim.
After going to the mikveh each time.
Well, yeah, because if she's Tameya, then she's right again. All these things she's Tameya, so she has to go to the mikveh. Right, Ritzufim means right. Right, she saw, meaning there was no, there was no hefsek of any. It wasn't b'dilugi, meaning it was 1, 2, and 3. Like there wasn't one and that was okay, and the next one. It all means b'tzufim. Right, so v'koshkeni matzah shalosh pa'amim dam aleid shalo. And of course, or else that they found 3 times on his and his aid, meaning that the Shach says that even if they find afterwards, this zman is only for her, because maybe if she sees it after that, it's like there's a coincidence. Stam happened, but for him. And we check his aid and it's Adam and his aid, even if it's much later. So then we say, yeah, there is a roh of machmas tashmish, because why else would there be blood there? Obviously, if it's because if she still has basulim, then it can be told. We'll see that later about Tola al Maka. If she's still if she's still first married, she still has some basulim and it's bleeding because of that, then now it has to be, that such a thing should just, be discussed with a rav or discussed with a, things like that. Just to, discuss, to ask a shayla about Okopanim, that it's definitely okay. Asur l'shamesh in Baal Zeb. So if she sees 3 times it's sufim, she's a surah to this Baal. Ella tizgaresh, she needs to get divorced. V'tinase la'acher. And she can get married to someone else. To not nises la'acher, if she got married to someone else. We're also done machmas tashmish. And what do you know? Again, she sees machmas tashmish. Gilam point with sufim. Asur l'shamish im oisa bal. She's also to mishamish with this husband again. El tiskaresh, and she has to get divorced again. V'tinase the shlishi. She's allowed to get married to a 3rd guy. If for the 3rd guy she sees the machmas tashmish shalosh pa'amim v'tzufim lo tanase la'acher, then she's asura to get married to anyone else. El asura l'kol ad shetivdoik, then she's asura to anyone until she does a bedikah. We'll see in Sif Beis that means to check if it's really because of tashmish or because of something else. The reason why. The reason why we say she can get married, and she can marry 3 people, is because look kochos, every person's different, every body's different, different things. Maybe this one caused it, this one didn't cause it, whatever. So we allow her to get married to 3 different people. If we see that she saw after 3 different husbands, then she's muchzakes. And she's a surah to get married. Unlike a katlanis, who's only 2 times, because it's sakana. Sakana, we pass with chazakas after 2 times, but by regular chazakas, it's 3. Pagab. Some say we don't really know what's called machmas tashmish. Yein bikin b'shir anitzkar. We to the exact zman is mentioned that we can't. That's very hard to know. L'chein kol sharor shalosh pa'amim sabach l'tashmish. As long as she sees 3 times right after tashmish, mikri d'dida machmas tashmish. Nes for a baila. We're going to be machmer and say that as long as she sees right after tashmish, then it doesn't have to be that within those seconds, but obviously pretty closely connected to right afterwards. Then we're going to be machmer. Shachas is are we going to ask her the kol olam because of our chashos, because we don't know, so we're going to come to three husbands and ask her. I don't know how often it was ever in Nogea, but Al Kopanim, it's an interesting point. Like give her in the shape of an iguna, so we can't get married because we don't understand. Okay, I don't know. So here in the Shach says. We'll see in Sif Beis. We'll have to get into nowadays there are. We'll get into Sif Beis of Bedikahs, but nowadays there's medicines and tipulim and everything like that. We'll get into that in Sif Beis about there are ways the amount of doctors if they can say she's cured. We'll get all to that, whatever. But that's coming out. The ain chiluk bein rasa shalosh pa'amim miyad shenasa doesn't make a difference if it happened 3 times right after she got married. Bein niskalkala achar kach whether. Right. So 3 times. Again, and all these things still need to be 3 times in a row. It doesn't make any difference if it happens 3 times right after she gets married, or whether it happened later. And that's he's only talking if it happens right after Tashmish. If it doesn't happen close to Tashmish, she does not become also to her husband. And even if it happens consistently, an hour later, then she does not become a surah. Whether she's koviah some sort of odd Veses, I don't know, but it's not the problem. Machmas tashmish is that they shouldn't be over the yitzur of a shamash Niddah of a Arias. That's the problem. If it happens kavua an hour afterwards, okay, it's not fun, but that's but al kopanim it's not. She doesn't become a surah. Bedina kamisha in Veses, and that's also it's like I said. If it's kavua and mamash an hour afterwards every single time. So that could be a Veses, but this is it's time. She sees afterwards. It's not. It's just a bit later. Then we don't say it's a Veses, it's Bachmas Tashmish, and that's okay.
Why don't you say the Veses for an hour after Tashmish?
Right, but okay, right. That's what I'm saying. But that's in the case here is the Kimisha in Veses is that it's nothing.
This is part of the abuse.
Yeah.
The system of being correct.
Right. Beis Ketza Bedekah. So what's this thing of Bedekah? Right? How does she go? What was there a way to get out of this? So the Telish Foferes Shaver, she's supposed to take a tube of lead. Avar. Okay. Fish Kana Chalushal Oferes. Right. A tube of metal tube or lead tube, whatever. Upia Rotzuf. And it's like folded in or whatever. No senes b'soicha b'chol b'rosho moch. You take like a stick that has a moch, has a cloth or a sponge or cloth. Yeah, right. It's like complicated, right? Chol b'rosho moch. But also makom, and she puts it into she puts it up inside. Ad makom shemeshamish dash until her cervix, because that's the makom shemeshamish dash is the furthest place where where tashish can go to.
First that it can, not necessarily where it does.
Right. I mean, we're gonna get to there's a funny sheet of the Rambam. when we get to Bedikahs, that does taka have to be there. But it's a Rambam shita. That's why it says this is the shita. It's a Rambam. He's but Akopanim, but it's nicer that you're right. It's that it can't get there. And then it's a dam arosha. If she sees dam on the moch, biyadua shehu min hamakor. Then she knows it's coming. That's coming from the makor, from the rechev asura. V'imlav, she doesn't see any dam. Biyadua shehu min etstadim. Umateres. So the point over here is you put a tube there, so then the tube is it's blocking out any possibility of dam, which should say some sort of petza, some sort of wound on the side, and it's just going to go ahead and touch the cervix, and if she sees dam, and it's going to simulate tashmish, and if that simulation, if she sees dam. So then it shows she's Yosura. But if not, then we assume she saw 3 times, or the husband saw 3 times, whatever. We assume it was from the tzaddik with some sort of petza. Again, we're gonna get even nowadays you can be somech on this bedika. The emphasis is that we're gonna generally anything like this, the doctor will check her or a nurse will check. Nowadays, if there's we'll get into problems of a woman has problems doing bedikahs and things like that. That's coming up here in the end of the siman about when can you be told on a makar or not. But doing this bedikah, we don't do these nowadays. But instead, it's sent to a doctor or they send to a nurse, and the nurse will check and see if there's any wound or any wound or scratch or something like that, or some other reason that it's that there's dam, and there's a discussion about what about if they know that it's like endometrium. There's different types of conditions, fibrosis, and all these types of things. But there's a discussion in the post game. You have to if someone gets to that point, you should ask a shayla about is that considered being a makor, or is that considered something different, like if some sort of petza or something like that, because even though it's in the makor, but it's not really dam nidos. It's its own like weird growth.
So maybe emphasis is considered not.
I don't remember which condition, and I have to but Al Kapanim, some of these things they're gross in the uterus, and therefore the question is that uterine dam, uterine blood, or is it considered its own dam, something different? That's a discussion. The person say it doesn't matter. It's only because it comes through the makor, it doesn't make a difference. Some say no, it does make a difference. These gets into shilas of you have the big post game who deal with like medical things, and you get into these shilas, and we get into these types of things and staying married and all these things. These are big shilas. Well, there's a discussion like that.